Welcome back, everybody, to our energy tips for March 23rd till the 29th, 2020. My name is Jona Bryndis. You're watching the energy tips from transCODES in my capacity as an energy healer, energy therapist, and energy trainer. And we're going to look into what the energies of next week bring, and my offering here to you, maybe to give you guidance, to give you support as to how to better deal with those collective energies. Yes, so we have all arrived in reality now. This virus situation is not going to go away. We're dealing with forces that are beyond our control, and obviously this is triggering our personal as well as the collective ego, our self-preservation, our panic, our survival drive, all right? And this is, of course, for us self-healers and for the heart warriors amongst you, something that is actually like a great test, but also an opportunity for us to really tune into what we have been training all along. So my overall impression here, reading the energies for next week, is going to be a toughie. Hang in there. All right. Next week is basically sort of the pinnacle of this panic, of this scare, a consolidation of reality, so to speak, where it really sinks in. We also have a very powerful new moon here on the 24th, and that's, it's a bit like a condensation of energies, all right, where everything that is now basically coming forward, that is coming out of the unconscious into the conscious, will be way showing here for these entire next 12 months. All right, so those of you who have questions in regards to how I see the timelines here energetically for us, we will still be dealing with this strong bombardment probably until Easter. And then it's going to get a little easier for us because people are starting to accept, the reality of social distancing. They're starting to adapt a little bit, but we'll also see a lot of outer responses. Okay, so people will also realize the economical, the financial impact. We talked about this last time a little bit, but it will be more practical. The hardest part here, I think, for all of us energetically sensitives, and I don't know if you felt this too, is what I call the weekend panic. Okay, so these last 4 weeks, and if you felt into your energies, you could feel this. There was this Friday afternoon fear kicking in. Okay, so your system picking up on those collective energies, and suddenly your heart rate was elevated, you're feeling dizzy, and you could actually tell that it isn't you, but it's coming from the outside. And then Saturday, as this feeling of anxiety kicking in, picking up on all these thoughts that people have now, not being able to deal with the unknown, and really increasing this anxiety, this worrying about everything. And then the Sunday depression, where there's a sort of a sadness that comes in, and a powerlessness, and where people are starting to cope and try to hide and avoid and dive under, just waiting for new instructions on Monday, be it through work. Some of us still have to go to work. Some of us work remotely, waiting for the schools to let us know what to do, waiting for our governments to tell us what to do. So we have this cycle here that keeps replaying on the weekends, okay, where we pick up on these collective energies, believing maybe that they're ours. And here you got to be very disciplined, guys, to not buy into this. All right, understand that collective energies are always there, and yes, they do affect your energy, but only if you let them. Okay, so right now, as we are in this situation of trying to accept truth, all right, the biggest enemy right now is the fear of the fear of the unknown. All right, because we don't quite know yet how this is going to play out. It's unprecedented. We don't even know if we are infected. We don't even know if we can infect others, or we don't even know what this disease is like. There's a lot of unknowns, and that's your enemy right now. Okay, the fear of the fear. This is where, sort of reducing the amount of news and outer things comes in, because nobody knows. Okay, so the governments do, what their protocols say, and this is, containment, and then comes decontainment, all right? And this is what we have to do now. That's the only responsible thing right now, as I've laid out last week, to keep the curve flat so that our social infrastructure doesn't fall apart. Now, our financial system is already falling apart, and if you haven't quite accepted the magnitude of that, in a couple of weeks from now, it will be very obvious. All right, so we are in the middle of these transformations into completely new structures, guys. But it is nothing that needs to scare you as like, oh my God, the world's going to end, or I'm going to end, or something like that. We are extremely resilient as humans, and we have all these self-healing abilities that allow us to respond, that allow us to adapt, that allow us to evolve. All right. And I keep repeating this, but the way our consciousness evolves, and this can be tracked back in the history of humanity, is through the confrontation with untruth. And this is a big confrontation with untruth, but not what you think. It doesn't matter whether it's dark forces trying to take over the world, or whether it's the good guys trying to dry out the swamp, or whatever the mental constructs that are swarming out there. All those are below truth. All those are untruths. The true, enemy here is the untruth of our own false self as an individual and as a collective. What we are being confronted with right now is a natural deflation of our ego. How could we believe that we could exploit this planet, that we could exploit other people, that we could exploit animals, that we could exploit our own bodies without consequences? If you really want to know the energetic cause, all right, for some of those phenomena that we are going through right now, and that we will have to go through this next year, okay, if causation is still something that your ego mind requires to make sense of things, the energetic cause of what we are experiencing here, guys, is literally the excretion of our own untruth with ourselves and with another. We have been living a life in untruth as false selves. And so, this training, this truth training that we've been doing here all along, all right, this was all about preparing you for this, okay? Because the next level of your spiritual awareness, the next level of consciousness that you are now entering in, is the embodiment of your soul self. For the last 10 years, we've been practicing how to connect, how to communicate, how to work with our true self so that we can live in truth. And those of you who have already implemented that in your lives, you are experiencing less friction, less resistance, and less problems with these changes, with these challenges right now. Because you are used to living in truth. The big untruth is all these things that we have taken on as ours, that we have allowed to latch on, the misinformation, all those quote unquote negative energies that we have allowed to poison our system. And there are anthroposophical theories out there that the virus is actually an excretion of our own negative energy, because viruses are very, very interesting from a metabolic point of view, because they actually don't have their own metabolism. They actually don't have their own sort of way of reproducing and growing. They need a host for that. And yet they are energetic code. They're a pure energetic code with a few sort of helper proteins, all right, that allows them to find a host cell to do the energy management, to do the metabolism for them. It's this exploitation materialized in a halfway living energy code, a manifestation in the 3D, an incarnation of an energy in 3D, just like us. But our incarnation, the quality of our being, is much more sophisticated. And we're not just, an animal with sort of a group soul and instincts and, sort of predisposed patterns of behavior. We are individuated souls. We are a very sophisticated divine creation with the ability to tune into divine consciousness. Let us reverberate a little bit here. We are dealing with a very, very low vibratory manifestation of energy with the virus. And it's infecting people, not just on the physical level. That's just sort of the side effect. Like I've been saying all along, it's not about getting sick. It's infecting people exactly on that vibratory resonance that they have with the untruth. And that is the exploitation, that is the fear, that is the powerlessness, that is the lack of self-responsibility, the blaming, the externalizing of everything. And here comes this virus and forces us to stay home and forces us to be with ourselves and to go into self-reflection and to become energy managers and to become awakened in a way that we can finally recognize what differentiates us from all of these outer manifestations that are all, for the most part, false. And what are the few ones that are true? What is really true in our life? And you know what it comes down to? It comes down to the essentials. It comes down to the amount of love that you have created in your life, the amount of beauty that you have created, the creativity, the humor, the inspiration, the ability to tune in to something that is greater than you, where it's not about you being right, or you knowing better, or you being faster, or you having more money. That's untruths. It's about you being the listener, you being open, you being able to think for yourself, you being able to feel for yourself, you being able to come up with your own inspiration. And in the sense of self-healing, in the sense of energy tips, your ability to come up with your own medicine, due to the power of your consciousness and the truth that is energized through your heart connection. So here, just a little metaphysical excursus. in how you can also look at this virus situation. Right? There's other aspects here that I don't want to go into that have to do with, the shifts in our electromagnetic field. The electromagnetic field of the planet Earth has changed. The electromagnetic field due to all those microwave and UHF, RFID, all those different, broadbands of electromagnetic waves that we are exposed to. That too is a form of exploitation. And how could we believe that it wouldn't have an effect on us? Those are all algorithms. Those are all programs. Those are all codes. All right. And they do affect us, of course. But what was there first, the chicken or the egg, guys? Is it, the fact that humans now live in a certain way? Or is it the low vibratory resonance that we had in the first place that produced that way of living and that produced all these low vibratory choices in the past? It does not matter what was there first, guys, because the only thing that truly matters when it comes to your energy and energy management and the ability to tap into your own self-healer is the conditions that you, or the condition that you are in, the energetic state that you are in. And so the only message here that really matters is to focus on how to up your vibe. Because if you can out-vibrate the virus, if you can out-vibrate your fear, if you can out-vibrate your anger, your victimhood, you need to be right, you need to be in control, guess what? Then you are in an upward spiral. Then you are suddenly becoming inspired. You're getting plugged into divine Wi-Fi, and you're getting all these inspirations where you can do to even up your vibe more, and you become contagious. You become a virus. You become the one that helps others to up their vibes. That's our power as humans, as incarnated souls in 3D. We can do this, guys. You are a radio tower. You are a divine Wi-Fi transcoder. Okay? It doesn't matter where energies come from, if they come from the outside or from the inside. If you allow them to control your energy, well, now it's yours. Now you have to deal with it. And what are your conditions? What are the conditions that, these outer energies are meeting you at? Okay? What is your, personal energetic state right now? If you go low, all right, you're gonna get hit by this fear. You're gonna be part of this fear. You're gonna project this out. You're gonna be contagious with fear and panic. If you want to create more positive conditions for yourself, conditions that are more in harmony, more in balance, right? You need to look within. You need to make sure that you respond to whatever comes in from the outside, weekend or not, new moon or not. It doesn't matter. Feel into it. Is it mine? Is it not mine? Many of you are still working on discerning this. Right now is a really, really good opportunity to practice that, because it's so strong what's coming in from the outside. You can literally feel when it's like, why am I having heart palpitations? Why am I feeling dizzy right now? I'm feeling okay, but I'm having actually physical symptoms of anxiety and panic attack. That's not yours, okay? So you just tell yourself, I'm not buying it, okay? I'm not buying it. Yes, okay, I'm acknowledging the truth of me perceiving outer energies, but I'm not buying into it. I'm not letting my mind latch onto it and say, oh my God, I guess this means that I'm having a panic attack. Now I need to act like I'm having a panic attack, right? That's how this goes, guys. You have energetic sensations. then there's some kind of like an emotional response to this. It's still physiological, neurotransmitter level. You feel a little low, you feel a little down or a little agitated, and then your mind comes, oh my God, we're feeling sad. Oh my God, we're feeling anxious. Now we got to act like it. And then you're sending the signal to your body. And now your signal is like, oh my God, my brain just told me that I'm anxious. I need to act like this. And of course, you just exhausts you, adrenal fatigue and so forth. And you're like completely fried. All right. And this is when you immune system goes low, when your energetic immune system goes even lower, and now you become even more susceptible to all the stuff that other people put out there, and you are becoming a part of that. All right, so don't buy into this. The virus scare is real. That's a reality that we have to deal with, and you guys got to understand here that the way things are going, in a week from now, some of you will see military in the streets. Some others of you will see this in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks. It's not a matter of if, it's just more of a sort of a when, depending on where on this timeline your country is. So don't get freaked out by this, guys, all right? Yes, are these things all scary? Just a visual of things? Absolutely, all right? But remember your true power. Your true power is to change this from within. Okay, and accepting things the way they are is part of your power. All right, because if you go into inner confliction, inner contradiction, resistance, then your energy goes low, and at that moment you're more susceptible to the things that come in from the outside. So understand that this right now is about common sense and the very foundations of health and self-healing. It's very practical, very pragmatic. It's all about the feasibility of things. So your concern needs to be, what are my needs? What do I need? What is not met? And you work your way up from the most fundamental, most dense layer of like shelter, food, protection, safety, through, connecting with people on a sort of a companion level, not feeling alone, to, understanding that this isn't about, being right or being better than others, but that this is about actually activating courage inside of you and coming out of your shell and dropping all your false self to, really connecting with your heart and recognizing how this is a power for you when you can have, or when you have a good foundation. When you don't have a good foundation, guys, most spiritual people forget that the 3D needs and the lower chakras, they are the foundation here on this 3D level. If they are not met, okay, you're going to go into stress, you're going to go into imbalance. So you got to understand, your manifestation conditions, because if you literally don't have money to buy food, okay, all the spiritual talk really doesn't make any sense. You need to find ways how to make money. All right, so it's not plugging into divine Wi-Fi, is something that cannot grip because your conditions aren't right. You need to have the right conditions and work your way up from the bottom level and create a good foundation. That is a level by level, and this is a part of most of the energy coachings that I do right now with people. I go through these different levels, these different layers of their life, and how they can make themselves feel safer, how they can build a better foundation so that these manifestation conditions become better for them. But we've got to understand that what we are dealing with right now, okay, this harsh awakening, okay, will take on almost warlike intensity here in this next week. All right, there's this really, really intense feeling that comes from the collective that has to do with like kind of cease and desist. All right, it's like this, it feels like death, but it's really the death of the ego, the death of the false self. All right, so don't buy into this, on this lower level. Ask yourself, if you have to coach yourself through this. Do Do I have enough? Do I have a shelter? Do I have a roof over my head? Do I have enough food? Do I have enough water? Can I move? Can I keep myself healthy? Yes, okay. So you do not need to buy into the fear of death, okay? So this time is so challenging for us because we still don't really know a lot about, this particular virus. As soon as we have unlimited tests available and everybody can go out there and test themselves, this is also when the statistics become a little more clear and make more sense. Or when we know whether we are contagious or not, then things are going to calm down. But this will take until at least Easter, and then we're still going to have to deal with the aftermath, and I've talked about this before. A lot of that will be in the socioeconomical area. So unfortunately, another thing that is coming in right now is additional disasters, earth changes. Okay, it's like as if we don't already have enough to deal with. The next 2-3 weeks show a really high level of earth changes, earthquakes, floods, and so forth. Okay, our earth reacting to all of this. Okay, it's like, how people always say bad things always come in three. So all this transformation pain right now, guys, we got to stay in there. It's a phantom pain if you have a good foundation. If you don't have a good foundation, then it will be painful for you. So use this time now. You still have time to build a better foundation. Remember, most of this is about our financial system. So we're moving towards a cashless society. I recommended a few weeks back to have some cash that's only to hedge people, banks, that from suddenly no longer dispensing money. That there are countries right now where cash is no longer being accepted due to the fear of infection through actual, money notes. So heed my words here. Use intermediaries for now, such as electronic banks that actually don't have that big of an overhead with all the branches and the people. All right, I did a few examples here last week in the energy tips, and understand that, as much as, I've been a proponent of cryptocurrencies, that this is the actual transition now. All right, it's not in the sense that cryptos were originally invented, okay, namely decentralized and cutting out the middleman, but the technology is moving towards us. So our countries are probably all going to introduce this sort of centralized national cryptocurrency to us here and within the year. Okay, so those of you who have cryptos already, guys, your time is coming now. All right, and this is also a good time to look at the crypto market a little bit. Again, like I've always told you guys, not to speculate with it because you don't know enough about it, but to just be open for it and to understand, that this is where this is going. Chakra-wise this week, all chakras, this will continue. Fear weaves through all our energy centers, but primarily first chakra. I've discussed this with you last week, and your fourth chakra, and then for this particular week here, it's the fifth and the sixth chakra. So it's seeing truth and expressing truth that where you will feel a lot of pressure, ear stuff and temple stuff, headaches and so forth. All right, this is a part of our task to balance this out. Physically, we need to adjust to these different collective situations that we are in. So if you're working from home now, obviously you need to make sure that you get enough physical movement. Okay, so you need to do those kind of adjustments, all right, because your daily routines change. But it gives you also more freedom, and it gives you more time, to do self-care. Some of you can stay in your PJ pants all day, it frees up a lot of time. But we do need to make sure that we understand here that this is now all about self-responsibility, okay? We are the the ones now that have to provide this for ourselves. Nobody else is going to provide this for us. Really nothing new here other than, the regular or the already known principles of high vibratory living, high vibratory diet, high vibratory expression in the physical, all right? But for this particular week, there's two things I would like to recommend you, and that is stretching. Do a lot of stretching, guys, because physical flexibility increases your stance, it helps your first chakra, and it also leads to more energetic flexibility, adaptability, all right? And those of you who are familiar with this, you can also do etheric stretching. You just need, an extra session with yourself, and exercise your etheric self. The second thing is that you look for herbs and supportive healing things that you can order, that you can get, anything that helps you to boost, to balance, and to strengthen your immune system. All right, so these are the two things. Whatever you need to adapt to your changes right now, and supportive healing through natural healing modalities. Emotionally, obviously, the hardest part here is to deal with these projections of fear, these weekend phenomena and the projection of powerlessness, okay, these cycles every weekend, freeze, anxiety, and depression, okay. This will flatten out a bit here after this week, but right now, brace yourself for the weekends, okay, because you'll feel it more, okay. Obviously, we have to deal with our feelings here and acknowledge where we are. So hard breathing and breathing through your feelings and actually qualifying them and acknowledging to you, yes, I am afraid. Yes, I'm feeling sad. Yes, this already helps to clear them, guys. All right, this already helps to not let them accumulate around your heart. All right, and obviously, then socially, the reaching out and the communicating this would help even more. But if this is still sort of undefined, just begin to journal, yeah, and acknowledge it with yourself, and then focus on sort of what this might be telling you. Fear is a signal from our energy system that informs us that we need to change something. What can we change? What is the opportunity in this overall situation? And how am I using this opportunity? This leads me then to the mental aspects of it. You can intellectually understand what I mean when I say anxiety is the fear of the fear, because it's a projection into the future, right? And it's really hard to wrap our minds around something that we have no reference feeling for, that we have no reference for, no memory, okay? And so our ego goes rampant, that critical inner voice goes rampant. But if you look at everything as energy and maybe get inspired through the perspective that I offered you here in the beginning, all right, if you look at the virus and the virus scare and all the collective transformation that is triggered by it, then it might be easier for your mind to understand it. And when you can understand it better, you no longer need to be afraid of it that much. Okay. Socially, obviously, this is a huge, big consolidation, about relationships, which people are actually important to us, which do we really care for, which do we want to be with, which are supportive for us, which make us feel safe. Those are all things, of course, that are coming to the foreground now. And so the social distancing on the long run, will force us to come up with more creative ways of connecting, and perhaps even make people learn that there's very, very cool ways of energetically connecting with another. All right, so this is something that I'm looking forward as my daily reality, to interact with people on an energetic level, which I already do. So we need to really go into the truth of that. Again, remember, your energy is determined by your own energy, the energy of your direct condition and circumstance, and this includes the people in your environment as well as the collective. But you are able to control them all, not other people, but whether or not the energy of other people latches on to you. And sometimes social distancing is not a bad thing. I've heard some of you guys say that not having to be with my family and not having to be exposed to all of that is actually feeling good. All right. So this doesn't mean that you have to get divorced from your family. It just means that you might want to be a little more conscientious about that, in the future. So it's a big learning here, social learning. Now, spiritually, we talked about the manifestation conditions here, and understanding that, for things to be in balance and in harmony, which means for them to become able to evolve and to grow, and to expand, which is practically sort of the prime directive of spirituality, all right? We are playing a part in this. So even if we have religious beliefs that, see a God outside of ourselves, that is, fine. But even with religious beliefs, there is this part that we all have to play in this, all right? God helps those who help themselves, all right? And that is the part that is really coming forward here. So no matter what you see sort of as the higher power, whether you see it within yourself or outside of yourself, you have to understand that there's still the part of you, your choices, your everyday choices that determine, the manifestations in your life, that determine your karma and all these things. So it is the energy of the choice of right now that you make right now that determines how things manifest in the future. So everything that has manifested for you here at this very moment in the now is the consequence of your energy in the past. And maybe this motivates you to shift that. All right? Because if you don't want more of what you have right now, then maybe you want to shift some of your attitude, some of your mindset, and some of your spiritual alignment towards yourself right now, because it's going to determine your immediate future. And energetically, this is of course the time here where we decouple from collective phantom pains and fears. On Monday we have the karmic collective clearing transmission for you heart warriors. If you want to be part of this, guys, check the link. There's, like with all the transmissions that I do, I have a graduate fee. This is a $10, or in this case I think $25, for those who have already done a transmission modality 3 times. Don't forget that, guys. All right, so you can, many of you have come to these karmic collective clearings many times, and it's very inexpensive to join. All right, you can also, of course, make up your own karmic collective clearing. Just understand that what we are learning here right now is the out vibrating the collective karma. All right, and this bifurcation that I have been talking about for years is now becoming a little easier to understand. And I'll talk about this next week. For now, I wish you guys that you get through this week all right. Reach out. Heart warriors get to talk to me anyway. Maybe ask for a free consultation, energy coaching consultation with me. There are a lot of things you can do. Let's focus on those. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for your support.